Oh my god.
What's going on, guys? Got a couple minutes after work today. I'm gonna tinker just a little bit. I don't have time to get into a whole lot, but I'm gonna trim off the steering shaft. So this is coming through from the inside. Obviously don't need all that, so we'll trim it back like here. Then we'll have this U-joint will go on the end of this shaft. There's a bushing that goes in the bottom once I trim it. Then this U-joint goes on that shaft like so. Of course it'll be, you know, up here, and we'll leave a couple inches of this sticking out, and we'll be able to adjust it in and out if we need to. We'll get it connected back to the steering box today. Like I said, I don't have a lot of time, but I'm gonna get a little bit done. And then I'm also gonna pull the sway bar out, cut the end links right there, and unbolt the sway bar. I got most of this degreased pretty good, but I'm gonna hit it with a pressure washer this coming weekend, and then just lay some flat black down in here. Start getting things put back together. But that's it. I'll set the camera up when I start trimming things and unbolting things and do a little time lapse on it. But just had a couple hours, figured I'd get something done. I'll check back soon. What's up, guys? Cut the sway bar out, just unbolted it from the frame rails, and then cut the end links. Obviously not going to run a front sway bar in a Pro Street style car, so get that out of there. I'm going to work on getting the steering shaft connected back now, so we'll get that trimmed, get it linked back to the box, and should be good to go. I'll set the camera up again and do a little hyperlapse. Not going to take very long to do it, so see y'all in a few. What's up, guys? Got the steering hook back up. Just got to run to Lowe's real quick. So we got a 5/16 hole here that goes through the shaft that's inside of here. Connects that back to the column. This factory shaft already had a 3/8 hole in the end with a pin through it. I hammered the pin out, so I'll drill a hole in this 3/8 lined up with the hole in here and put it right back through the factory pinhole. So I only have to drill the U-joint. I don't have to drill the solid steel shaft. So I'm gonna run to Lowe's real quick, get a drill bit. I need a 3/8 drill bit and a 5/16 bolt for that. And I'll get this linked back together. Be back in a few. What's going on, guys? Ran to Lowe's, got everything I needed. Pretty simple, just had to drill the hole out and make it fit. So there's the factory. So from here to here is the factory crush sleeve. So if I happen to hit the wall, you know, hard enough to fold the frame up, this will crush inside of itself 4 inches, which will keep the steering column from being smashed into my chest. So this is the end of the adjustable TRZ steering column. That's the ball and socket. So now that I've got it all set where I want it, I'll lock the 3 Allen heads down on the inside. That makes the steering column where it is. It's not going anywhere from that point forward. So it's actually hooked back up like factory. Kind of nice. Didn't have to spend a bunch of money on steering shafts and all that. Just hooks the, I'm using the factory rag joint all the way up the factory compression sleeve right into a Flaming River U-joint right onto the end of the steering shaft. So there's a collar inside the car at the top of the steering column that you can take the slop, you know, so you've got a chromoly shaft inside the TRZ sleeve. So what you do is you pull up on the column, on the steering wheel as hard as you can, and then there's a collar with an Allen head you slide down onto the top of the steering column and lock that. That takes all the play out of the steering column. So I left myself slack, so I've got, you know, 3 inches or so sticking out here in case I ever did decide to move the steering column further into the car closer to me. I could do that. I can, this is not open all the way. I pushed it in probably 2 inches. So if I decide I want to move my seat back, I can pull this 2 inches into the car and extend this 2 inches and not have to do anything else. So I left myself a pretty easy, I've got the steering where I want it, where I think it's going to be good, but you never know. Things change, you know, a couple months from now I might decide I want the steering wheel closer to me. So if I do, the end of this is in here. I can slide it probably 2 inches still, and then I can do the exact same thing the other way. I can push this, loosen these, push this through and crush that a little bit more. So pretty cool. I'm happy with it. I got the sway bar out as well. So basically the front suspension gets here. I'll bust the front end out real quick. I'm just going to do urethane. I'm going to leave the stock control arms for now, clean them up, sandblast them, press the bushings out. I'll put urethane bushings through the whole thing. Front uppers and lowers will both be urethane. Motor mounts will probably be solid. But yeah, coming along. If I can get, I guess I probably order the bushings tonight for the front end and get that done. If I get the bushing, upper and lower control arm bushings done, I've got Viking double adjustable shocks for the front and 1-inch drop springs. So that'll put the, basically the front end of the car will be done. I'll, you know, put all new tie rods and everything on it. Obviously this car's a 1980 and it's been rode hard and put away wet, so I will replace all the bushings, replace all the ball joints. Eventually I'll do tubular control arms and all that, but it's a bunch of money I don't need to spend right now. I want to get all this grimy, dirty work done so I can move on to fun stuff like building the turbo kit, building the motor. I've got the motor at my house in my shop. I just need to go through it and rod bolts, main bolts, you know, all that stuff. So gap the rings. I'm torn whether, so I'm gonna put a Texas Speed 421 in this car, but I want to put, I've got a 6-liter sitting in the house. I want to throw it together and put it in here to get the car figured out. I don't, my whole thing is I don't want to start off with a Texas Speed motor in this car until I get the hang of tuning and all that. I'm running the Holley ECM, so it does a lot of it itself, but I'd rather not go out and smoke a $7,000 short block. So I think what I'm going to do is, you can make a ton of power on stock bottom ends. So I think what I'm going to do is put the motor I have together. I'm debating on whether I throw a set of pistons and rods in it for now. Probably about $2 grand. I can throw a set of pistons and rods in it and put it together, or put it together junkyard. More than capable of making a ton of power on bottom end, stock bottom end. So kind of torn yet. I got some time to figure that out, but the car is going to get a Texas Speed 421. I've already picked out everything I want and have it all basically set up. I just need to pull the trigger. But like I say, I want to get the hang of tuning, be my first turbo setup. You know, I've been a part of a lot of turbo setups, but not my own. So I figure throw the 6 liter. I've got I think it's a 2005 6 liter out of an Escalade in my shop. Throw it together, you know, good cam, good heads, but stock bottom end. Throw it in here, go out, get the car figured out. You know, the car's stock suspension in the rear, but I'm getting rid of the coils and putting coilovers. The car's getting a ridiculous cage through it. I've got south side bars. I've got a Ford 8.8 for the rear end, for the back end. So I think I'll probably put the 6 liter I've got in here and go out and start playing. The car will be a rocket, even with that motor, with an 80mm Borg Warner on it. So get the car figured out, get the suspension figured out, get the car leaving straight, and then in a weekend's time I can swap the 421 in and be done. So I think that's the route I'm gonna go. But just wanted to put something together. It's been a few days, so I figured I'd get a couple hours in on it tonight. So y'all have a good day.